Hello everyone, my name is Jan Hong. I am from Vietnam. This is part 8 of the 1000 Why questions. Thank you all for your support. It truly means a lot to me. Thank you very much. Have you ever woken up and just thought, why am I even doing this? You go through the motions, day in and day out, but you live without really knowing why. It's like being a passenger in your own life, just drifting along without a destination. Maybe you look around and see that you have enough, a decent job, a roof over your head, friends, family. Yet, despite all of that, there's this deep, nagging feeling of emptiness, a feeling that something crucial is missing. This sense of boredom with life can be incredibly confusing. You achieve a goal you've been working towards for months, maybe even years. You get the promotion, buy the car, finish the project. For a moment, you feel a flicker of satisfaction, but it fades almost instantly, leaving you feeling hollow and disconnected. The achievement feels surprisingly meaningless. It's like you're living by a routine, a pre-written script, not by a sense of personal meaning. You're not aiming for anything that truly matters to you. You're just drifting. And what happens when those big life questions start bubbling up to the surface? Questions like, what is my purpose? What is the point of all this? It can be terrifying. So many of us develop strategies to avoid them. We fear asking life's big questions because we're scared of the answers, or worse, scared that there are no answers at all. We actively avoid seeking purpose because it feels like too much pressure, too big a task to handle. It's easier to stay in the shallow end of the pool than to dive into the deep, unknown waters of existence. This feeling has a name: existential emptiness. It's that profound sense of being hollow inside, a feeling of numbness where vibrant emotions should be. Life loses its color, and everything just feels gray. To cope, we start craving constant stimulation. We fill every quiet moment with noise, distraction, and entertainment. We scroll endlessly through social media, binge-watch entire seasons of shows in a day, or keep the music blasting just to avoid the silence. The silence is where the thoughts we're trying to escape live. We fear being alone with our own existence. Being by yourself with nothing but your thoughts for company can feel like staring into a void. It's in these moments that the feeling of meaninglessness becomes most potent. So we avoid contemplation at all costs. We become masters of distraction, experts at keeping ourselves so busy that we don't have a spare second to think about what it all means. It's a full-time job, distracting ourselves from the void. We become consumers rather than creators of meaning. We look for external things to fill us up: new gadgets, new experiences, new relationships, hoping that the next thing will finally be the one that makes us feel whole. But it never is. The satisfaction is temporary, and soon enough, that familiar feeling returns. Something is missing. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. No matter how much you pour in, it never stays full. So what do? The first step is acknowledging this feeling without judgment. It's not a sign that you're broken or ungrateful. It's a very human experience. It's a signal from your inner self that you're ready for something more, something deeper. Instead of running from the emptiness, what if we turned and faced it? What if we sat in the silence and listened to what it has to say? The void isn't just an absence. It's also a space for you to create, to define, to build a life that is uniquely and authentically yours. This journey isn't about finding a pre-packaged meaning that someone else gives you. It's about creating it for yourself, day by day, choice by choice. It starts with small things. What makes you feel curious? What activities make you lose track of time? What values do you want to live by? These are the building blocks of a meaningful life. It's not about finding one grand purpose, but about weaving a tapestry of small, meaningful moments and actions. If these feelings of emptiness are overwhelming and affecting your ability to function, please know that it's okay to ask for help. Talking to a therapist or a counselor can provide you with tools and a safe space to explore these big questions. You don't have to navigate this alone. There are people who can guide you as you search for your own answers and begin to fill that inner space, not with distractions, but with self-created purpose. Do you ever feel like something is missing, even when life seems okay on the surface? Or maybe you've hit adulthood and suddenly feel completely lost, like you missed the memo on how to navigate it all. It's this nagging feeling, isn't it? You look around and it seems like everyone else has their life together. You see their paths, their successes, and you can't help but compare. That's when the anxiety kicks in. Why do I feel so behind in life? What if I'm running out of time? This fear of being late, of making a wrong turn, can be paralyzing. It leads to regret, making you look back at past choices and second-guess everything. Did I pick the right major? Was that the right job to take? Should I have moved to that city? You start doubting every decision that led you to this moment, and suddenly you feel stuck. It's like you're in quicksand, and every move to get out just pulls you in deeper. And the thought of starting over, of rebuilding, it's terrifying. It feels like admitting defeat, like all the time and energy you've already invested was a waste. So you stay put, even if you're unhappy, because the unknown seems so much scarier than the familiar discomfort. This is where that profound lack of direction comes from. It feels like you've lost your inner compass, the very thing that's supposed to guide you. You don't know which way is north anymore. This uncertainty makes us look for answers everywhere but within ourselves. We start listening more to others, our parents, our friends, society, than to that quiet voice inside. We've been taught to distrust our own intuition, to seek external validation for our choices. We scroll through social media, read self-help books, and listen to podcasts, all in the hopes that anyone will tell us what to do. This constant search for external guidance is why we keep changing direction. We're like a ship without a rudder, tossed around by the opinions and expectations of others. One day we're passionate about one thing, the next day it's something completely different. We avoid committing to a single path because what if it's the wrong one? This fear of choosing a purpose is really a fear of closing off other possibilities. We want to keep all our options open, but in doing so we never fully commit to anything. We're waiting for a sign, for some kind of divine intervention or cosmic permission slip that tells us, yes, this is your purpose. Go for it. We're waiting for someone to hand us a map and say, here's the path to a meaningful life. But the truth is, that map doesn't exist. No one can give you permission to live a meaningful life. No one can choose your purpose for you. This waiting game is a subtle way of avoiding responsibility. Because if we choose our own meaning, if we define our own purpose, then we're the only ones responsible for it. And that's a heavy weight to carry. It's much easier to blame our circumstances or a lack of guidance for our feelings of emptiness. This feeling of existential emptiness often stems from a disconnection from our authentic selves. We've spent so much time trying to be who we think we should be that we've lost touch with who we actually are. We've been chasing external markers of success, the good job, the nice house, the perfect relationship, believing they would bring us happiness and fulfillment. But when we get them and still feel empty, it's a huge shock. We wonder, I did everything right, so why do I feel so wrong? This is the existential crisis of modern life. We have more choices than ever before, but also more confusion. We're told we can be anything, but we're not taught how to figure out what we want to be. The pressure to live an extraordinary life, a Graham-worthy life, is immense. And when our reality doesn't match up to that curated perfection, we feel like failures. We see other people's highlight reels and compare them to our behind-the-scenes struggles. The key to breaking this cycle is to stop looking outward and start looking inward. It's about reconnecting with that inner voice you've been ignoring for so long. What do you truly value? Not what your parents value, not what your friends value, but what you value. What makes you feel alive? What activities make you lose track of time? What injustices in the world fire you up? These are the clues to your purpose. Your intuition isn't some mystical, unreliable force. It's your subconscious mind processing vast amounts of information and experiences, giving you a gut feeling about what's right for you. Learning to trust it again takes practice. Start with small decisions. Choose what to eat for lunch without polling your friends. Pick a movie without reading 100 reviews. Notice how it feels to make a choice based on your own preference. These small acts of self-trust build the muscle you need for bigger life decisions. And let's talk about commitment. Committing to a path or a purpose doesn't mean you're stuck with it forever if it turns out to be wrong. It's not a life sentence. Think of it as an experiment. You're committing to exploring something deeply for a period of time. You gather data, you see how it feels, and then you can re-evaluate. It's better to commit to something and find out it's not for you than to spend your life in a state of indecision, never committing to anything at all. The fear of making the wrong choice is an illusion. There are no wrong turns in life, only detours. Every experience, every mistake, every perceived failure is a learning opportunity. It's teaching you something about yourself and what you want. The path to a meaningful life is not a straight line. It's a winding, messy, beautiful journey of discovery. The regret you feel over past choices is a sign that you've grown. You now have more information and self-awareness than you did back then. So be gentle with your past self. They were doing the best they could with what they knew at the time. So how do we start building a life of meaning? We take responsibility. We accept that we are the authors of our own lives. We stop waiting for permission and start giving it to ourselves. We choose a direction, even if we're not 100% sure about it, and we start walking. Meaning isn't something you find asterisk. It's something you create asterisk. It's created in the small, everyday choices we make to live in alignment with our values. It's created when we choose courage over comfort, when we choose to serve something larger than ourselves, when we choose to connect with others authentically. You don't need to have it all figured out right now. You just need to take the next right step. What's one small thing you can do today that feels aligned with your true self? Maybe it's signing up for that art class you've been dreaming about. Maybe it's volunteering for a cause you care about. Maybe it's just spending 15 minutes in silence, listening to your own thoughts without judgment. The feeling of emptiness is a call to action. It's a signal from your soul that it's time to come home to yourself. It's an invitation to stop seeking meaning out there and start creating it from within. This journey isn't easy, and it's okay to feel scared or overwhelmed. If these feelings are persistent and deeply affecting your life, please consider talking to a mental health professional. They can provide support and guidance as you navigate this process. You don't have to do it alone. Have you ever felt like you're just going through the motions? Like you exist, but you're not truly living? You survive each day, ticking off a to-do list, but the spark, the zest for life just isn't there. It feels like you're on autopilot, living mechanically, following a script you didn't even write. Why is that? Why do we so often find ourselves in this state of existential emptiness? Let's explore this together. So many of us feel this way. We wonder, why do I survive instead of live? It often comes down to fear. The fear of living differently from what we know, from what everyone else is doing. There's a strange comfort in the familiar, even if it's unfulfilling. We fear the unknown, so we cling to the predictable. This fear can be so powerful that it makes us afraid of our own freedom. Freedom means choice, and choice means responsibility. It means the possibility of making the wrong choice, of failing, of looking foolish. So instead of embracing that freedom, we retreat. We choose what feels safe. This is where we start letting life decide for us. Instead of being the author of our own story, we become a passive character. We avoid making the big decisions, hoping that circumstances will just steer us in the right direction. We let our fears take the driver's seat. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. And when fear is in charge, it keeps us small. It tells us to play it safe, to not rock the boat, to stay in our lane. It's a comfortable prison, but it's a prison nonetheless. We avoid taking authorship of our lives because it's easier to blame our circumstances than to take responsibility for our choices. One of the biggest things we avoid is the question of meaning. We avoid thinking about our purpose, our legacy. It feels too big, too overwhelming. We ask ourselves, why should I think about meaning? What can I even do? So we distract ourselves. We focus on the short term, the next deadline, the next paycheck, the next weekend. We live from one immediate gratification to the next, never lifting our heads to look at the horizon. Thinking long-term requires us to confront our mortality, to think about what we'll leave behind, and that's a heavy thought. So we push it away. We procrastinate on our own lives. We avoid thinking about legacy because it forces us to ask if we're living a life that will matter. This short-term thinking also leads us to avoid responsibility beyond ourselves. We get caught up in our own little bubbles, our own problems, our own desires. The idea of contributing to something larger, of having an impact, feels daunting. We fear that we don't have enough to give. We fear that our contribution will be too small to matter. We fear the responsibility that comes with making a difference. What if people depend on us? What if we can't deliver? This fear of contribution is really a fear of our own potential. We are afraid of the impact we could have because with great impact comes great responsibility. Then there's the fear of service. The idea of dedicating our lives to helping others or to a cause can feel like a loss of self. We think, what about my needs? What about my dreams? We fear that living for something bigger than ourselves means we have to give up everything we want. We fear the commitment. Committing to a purpose means saying no to 1,000 other things. It means discipline, it means sacrifice, and it means staying the course even when it gets hard. This fear of commitment is paralyzing. We'd rather keep our options open, dabbling in a little bit of everything but never fully committing to anything. We stay on the surface of life, afraid to dive deep. And what does all of this amount to? Ultimately, we fear a meaningful life. It sounds paradoxical, doesn't it? Why would anyone fear the one thing we all secretly crave? We fear it because a meaningful life is not an easy life. It demands that we show up, that we be vulnerable, that we take risks. It demands that we confront our deepest fears and step into our greatest potential. It requires us to trade the comfort of certainty for the adventure of the unknown. A meaningful life is a life of purpose, and purpose is a heavy weight to carry. It's the weight of our own potential. So how do we break this cycle? How do we move from merely existing to truly living? It starts with a choice. It starts with a decision to stop letting fear lead. It begins with the courage to ask the hard questions. What do I want my life to stand for? What kind of impact do I want to have? What legacy do I want to leave behind? You don't need to have all the answers right away. The important thing is to start asking the questions. Start by taking one small step outside your comfort zone. Do one thing that scares you. Make one choice that is aligned with the person you want to become, not the person you have been. A meaningful life isn't something you find. It's something you build. You build it every day with your choices, your actions, and your commitments. You are the author of your life. You hold the pen. So what story are you going to write? It's time to stop surviving and start living. It's time to stop being a passenger and start being the pilot of your own life. The journey towards meaning is the greatest adventure you will ever embark on. It won't be easy, but I promise you it will be worth it. If any of this resonates with you, know that you're not alone. The journey to a meaningful life is a universal human struggle. If you find these feelings overwhelming, please consider reaching out to a mental health professional. Talking to someone can provide clarity and support as you navigate these big questions. Your well-being is the most important foundation for building a life of purpose. Thank you so much for watching and for joining me on this exploration. If this was helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Let's continue this conversation together. Why do I want freedom without responsibility? It's like wanting all the candy without the stomach ache. We crave the thrill of endless possibilities, the open road, but we shy away from the gas money and the map reading. Responsibility feels heavy, like an anchor when all we want is to sail. We want to be the hero of our own story, but we don't want to deal with the dragon. It's the ultimate fantasy. All the power, none of the pressure. But a ship without an anchor just drifts, and a hero without a dragon has no story to tell. And why do I avoid accountability for meaning? Because if I'm accountable, it means I'm the one who has to build the house. If it's crooked, if the roof leaks, that's on me. It's so much easier to wander through pre-built houses, complaining about the decor, than it is to pick up a hammer and nails. Claiming accountability for meaning means admitting that my life's purpose isn't going to just fall out of the sky. It means I have to create it, shape it, and live with the results. That's terrifying. It's the ultimate DIY project, and the instructions aren't included. This leads to the next question. Why do I want choice without consequence? It's the dream, isn't it? To stand at a crossroads with 100 paths and be able to walk down all of them at once. We want to taste every dish at the buffet without getting full, but every choice we make closes a door. Choosing this career means not choosing that one. Choosing this partner means not choosing another. Consequences are the shadow that every choice casts, and we spend so much time trying to outrun our own shadows. We want the yes without the no. But without the no, the yes means nothing. And this fear, it all boils down to a fear of sacrifice and trade-offs. Why do I fear them so much? Because sacrifice hurts. It means giving something up. A trade-off is an admission that I can't have it all. And in a world that constantly tells us we can have it all, that admission feels like failure. We're told to chase every dream, to be everything, to miss out on nothing. So when we have to choose, when we have to let one thing go to hold on to another more tightly, it feels like we're losing. But maybe, just maybe, sacrifice isn't about loss. Maybe it's about making space for what truly matters. This hesitation trickles down into everything, even our values. Why do I avoid commitment to values? Because values are a compass. Once you commit to them, they point you in a certain direction, and that direction might not always be easy or popular. Committing to honesty means you can't lie your way out of trouble. Committing to kindness means you have to be patient when you'd rather be angry. It's easier to have a pocket full of compasses, pulling them out depending on the situation. But a life guided by 100 different compasses isn't a journey. It's just spinning in circles. Then there's the big one. Why do I fear choosing one thing deeply, whether it's a career, a hobby, a person, or a place? We live in a culture of sampling. We skim articles. We binge-watch the first episode of 10 different shows. We swipe through hundreds of faces. We're afraid that if we choose one thing and go deep, we'll miss out on all the other things. It's the ultimate fear of missing out. We'd rather be a jack of all trades, master of none, because master of one sounds so final. It sounds like we're closing ourselves off. This is tied to a fear of exclusion. If I define myself as this, it inherently means I am not that. If I say I'm a painter, I'm implicitly saying I'm not a musician or a scientist in that same deep way. We fear narrowing our focus because we've been taught that our potential is limitless. Narrowing down feels like self-imprisonment. We want to keep all our options open forever. We want to be a blank canvas full of potential, rather than a finished painting full of purpose. It's a fear of devotion. Why? Because devotion requires faith. It requires us to pour our heart and soul into something without a guarantee of a return. Devoting yourself to a cause, to a person, to a craft, it's the ultimate vulnerability. You're saying, this matters to me more than anything else. And what if you fail? What if it doesn't work out? The potential for heartbreak is immense. It's safer to keep everything at arm's length, to be passionate but not devoted, interested but not all in. All these fears swirl around a central, stark reality. Why does life have no built-in meaning? We arrive in this world without a user manual. There's no cosmic signpost pointing and saying, your purpose is this way. It's a bit of a shock, isn't it? We look at the stars, the mountains, the oceans, and they all seem to have their place, their function. But us, we're just here. It can feel like a cruel joke to be given this incredible consciousness, this capacity for love and wonder, and then be given no instructions on what to do with it. Which brings us to the inevitable and frankly empowering conclusion. I must create meaning myself. Because it's not pre-packaged, I get to be the chef. I get to choose the ingredients. This is the flip side of the terror. The absence of built-in meaning isn't a void, it's a canvas. It's the freedom to decide what matters. It's the ultimate creative act. Your life is your masterpiece, and you are the artist. No one can paint it for you, and that's just it. Why can no one live for me? Because my experiences, my feelings, my choices, they are uniquely mine. Someone can give you advice, they can hold your hand, but they cannot feel your joy or your pain for you. They cannot make your choices for you. At the end of the day, you are the one inside your own head, living with the consequences of your own heart. Your life is your own to live, and that's both a terrifying burden and a glorious privilege. This is why there's no universal path. There's no one-size-fits-all formula for a good life. What brings one person immense joy might feel empty to another. We look for maps, for gurus, for 7-step plans to happiness. But we're all starting from different places, with different destinations in mind. Your path will be as unique as your fingerprint. You have to blaze your own trail, and that involves getting a little lost sometimes. That's part of the adventure. So why must I choose? Because standing still is also a choice. Not choosing is a choice to let circumstances or other people choose for you. Choice is the engine of life. It's how we move from who we are to who we want to be. Every day is a series of choices, from what to eat for breakfast to what you will stand for. You cannot escape it. Life is a constant, flowing river of decisions. Indeed, why is choice unavoidable? Because to be alive is to interact with the world, and every interaction is a choice. To speak or to be silent, to act or to refrain, to turn left or to turn right. Even in the most restrictive circumstances, we have the choice of how we respond, of what attitude we adopt. We are, at our core, choosing beings. To deny that is to deny a fundamental part of our own nature. This is why adulthood can feel so heavy. Suddenly the choices have real stakes. The safety nets are gone. You're responsible for your own rent, your own health, your own happiness. It's the weight of all that freedom, all that choice. It's no longer about what you want to be when you grow up. It's about what you are building right now, today. That's a heavy lift. And it can feel lonely. Why does freedom feel lonely? Because when you forge your own path, you are, by definition, walking where others may not. The more unique your journey, the fewer companions you might find walking the exact same road. Authenticity means stepping away from the crowd sometimes. It means being willing to be misunderstood. Freedom is not a party. It's often a solitary hike, but the views from the top are your own. This is why authenticity has a cost. The price is conformity. The price is the comfort of fitting in seamlessly. To be truly yourself, you risk judgment, you risk rejection, you risk not meeting the expectations of others. But the cost of inauthenticity is higher. It's the slow, quiet erosion of your own soul. It's living a life that isn't yours. The cost of authenticity is paid up front, but the dividends are a lifetime of self-respect. So is meaning demanding? Yes, absolutely. It demands your attention, your courage, your vulnerability, and your commitment. Meaning isn't a comfortable sofa. It's a mountain to be climbed. It will ask for your sweat and your tears. It will demand that you be more than you thought you could be. But it will give you a reason to wake up in the morning. It will give you a story to tell. And ultimately, a life of demanding meaning is infinitely more satisfying than a life of comfortable emptiness. The choice, as always, is yours. Why does this feeling of emptiness disturb us so much? As we dive into this part of our journey, you might notice a certain weight to it. Maybe reading this, thinking about this, makes you feel a little uncomfortable. It's a natural reaction. Why do I feel this urge to just escape these questions, to turn away and think about something, anything else? What is it about the idea of meaning that makes me resist? Why do I find myself shying away from commitment, from real responsibility? It's like there's a part of me that actively avoids depth, that prefers to skate on the surface of things. And yet, despite this discomfort, this resistance, here you are. You're still listening. Why is that? Why do you keep reading, keep watching, keep seeking? Could it be that somewhere deep inside you feel a calling, a sense that you're standing at a crossroads, a pivotal point in your life? That feeling that you just can't go back to living the way you did before. It's a strange sensation, isn't it? Almost like you've been awakened, summoned to something greater, something more profound. There's this dawning realization that a choice must be made. You start to see that staying neutral, staying on the fence, is no longer an option. It's a choice in itself, a choice to remain in the familiar emptiness. But still, there's hesitation, a delay in taking action. Why? We put it off, we find distractions, we tell ourselves tomorrow. We procrastinate on our own fulfillment. Deep down, you probably already know the truth. You know the answers aren't out there in the world waiting to be found. They're internal. They're within you. So the ultimate question becomes, if I know all this, if I feel this call, if I understand that the answers are inside me, why haven't I chosen meaning yet? What's really holding me back from embracing a life of purpose, a life of depth? This is not just an intellectual exercise. It's a profound, personal inquiry. It's about looking at the gap between what you know you want and the life you are currently living. It's about confronting the excuses and the fears that keep you stuck. Let's break down this resistance. Resisting meaning often means resisting the work that comes with it. A meaningful life isn't a passive one. It requires engagement, effort, and vulnerability. It means showing up even on days when you don't feel like it. It means making choices that align with your values, even when it's the harder path. Committing to a path, a person, or a purpose can feel like closing other doors, and that can be scary. We like to keep our options open, but in keeping all options open, we never truly walk through any single door to see what lies beyond. And what about responsibility? In our culture, responsibility can sometimes feel like a burden, a chain. But what if we reframe it? What if responsibility is simply our ability to respond? The power to create, to influence, to care for what matters to us. Resisting responsibility is resisting our own power. It's choosing to be a passenger in your own life instead of the driver. This isn't about blaming yourself. It's about empowering yourself with awareness. To see the patterns, to understand the why behind your actions or inactions is the first step toward change. The feeling of being at a crossroads is both terrifying and exhilarating. It signals the end of one way of being and the potential beginning of another. The old you, the one who could live in blissful ignorance, is fading. A new awareness is taking its place. You can't unsee what you've seen. You can't unfeel what you've felt. This awakening is a gift, even if it comes wrapped in discomfort. It's the universe, your own soul, tapping you on the shoulder and saying, "It's time. It's time for more." This feeling of being summoned is a call to adventure. Not an adventure out in the world, but an inward one. The most important one you will ever take. It's a call to discover who you are beyond the roles you play, the things you own, and the expectations of others. It's a call to define your own values and live by them. It's a call to create your own meaning rather than waiting for it to be handed to you. This is what it means to truly live, not just exist. So why the delay? Fear is a big part of it. Fear of failure. Fear of getting it wrong. Fear of judgment. Fear of the unknown. We hesitate because the path of meaning is not a clearly marked highway. It's a trail we forge ourselves. There's no guaranteed outcome, and that uncertainty can be paralyzing. But here's a secret. Everyone who's ever done anything meaningful has felt that same fear. The difference is they chose to act anyway. They chose to take one small, uncertain step. And perhaps that's the answer. The reason we haven't chosen meaning yet is because we think of it as one big, monumental choice, a single, irreversible decision. But what if it isn't? What if meaning isn't a destination you arrive at, but a direction you travel in? What if it's not one big choice, but a series of small, daily choices? The choice to be present instead of distracted. The choice to be kind instead of indifferent. The choice to learn something new. The choice to face a fear. The choice to connect with another person. The answers are internal, yes, but they aren't hiding. They are waiting to be expressed, to be lived. You don't find meaning. You create it. You build it, moment by moment, choice by choice. You build it through your commitments, through your responsibilities, through your willingness to go deep. It starts with asking these uncomfortable questions. It continues with listening, truly listening to the answers that arise from within. And it comes to life when you take that first, small step in the direction of your own calling. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to begin. Thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me on the next part of this journey. Don't forget to subscribe for more. End of Part 8. Hello everyone, I'm Jan Hong. I'm from Vietnam. Thank you so much for your support. It truly means a great deal to me and is a huge source of encouragement. See you in Part 9.